Good evening to all our participants. I welcome you all to the day 6 of IEEE Virtual Talk series, which are focused on photonics and optical technologies. So today, I welcome you all again to the sixth day. And today we have Indian, and he has received his undergraduate and a graduate degree in physics from Bharati Dasan University, Tamil Nadu, and PhD from Nonlinear Optics Lab at Pusen National University at South Korea. He has worked as postdoctoral fellow at Department of Electrical Engineering at École Polytechnique de Montréal at Canada, and he has a patent and more than 30 publications. And presently, he is working as a senior assistant professor at Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Sastra deemed to be University at Thanjavur, Tamil Nadu, and his research interest includes nonlinear and integrated optics. So with this brief bio, I welcome you, sir, for your talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anupama. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Good evening to all. I'm Dr. Pandian from Sastra University. Today, I'm going to give a talk on designing simultaneous RGB and broadband laser source using QPM technique. This talk is going to
So click twice.
yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this talk is to discuss how to design a laser source for simultaneously generating RGB as well as the broadband, right? Okay. So before going into my talk, I wish to tell you about Sastra and my Center for Nonlinear Science and Engineering. Sastra is one of the premier institute in India and which is standing fifth rank among all private institute in engineering category, as well as Sastra is having UK accreditation. So the most of the courses in Sastra are accredited with the Indian as well as UK institutions, right? And this is the center which I belong, Center for Nonlinear Science and Engineering. Basically, we work on nonlinear sciences. So to understand nonlinearity in science as well as in engineering. So we are a group working in nonlinear optics, nonlinear systems, and the nonlinear magnetic materials. Basically, I belongs to nonlinear optics group. We work nonlinear optical materials, nonlinear fiber optics, and many aspects. The other group, they are working in nonlinear systems and nonlinear magnetic materials. And in general, this group most people, and the main aspect is to understand nonlinear. Okay, now I'll go to the topic. So before going into my topic, to introduce the green laser. So everybody knows what is the green laser and green laser. In general, what we believe, the green laser pointer, so what we use in classrooms or so pointing out to many things, so it's a semiconductor diode, but in general, so this green laser is not a semiconductor diode. It's a diode pump solid state laser system. So if you see this diagram, so here you have a semiconductor laser diode. So this semiconductor laser diode, which gives a wavelength of 808 nanometer, and here there is an yttrium 108 crystal. So neodymium doped yttrium 108 crystal. So this 808 nanometer is acting as a pump for this laser crystal, and this laser crystal which emits a wavelength of 1064 nanometer. Right. So you have a laser diode and the laser crystal. All right. So this is the diode pump laser system. Then after this laser system, you have a crystal. Uh, this crystal is a nonlinear optical crystal which converts this 1064 into 532. So practically, we are not directly emitting 532 from a laser diode. So we are converting this 1064 into 532, right? This process, especially converting 1064 into 532 is called nonlinear optical process. In specific, this is called the second harmonic generation. So this method, the method of phase matching. So phase matching in this, now we are simply generating a 1004 from this yttrium 100 crystal, and this KTP converts 1064 into 532, right? So there should be some phase matching between 1064 and 532, right? So that specific phase matching is called the birefringent phase matching, that is BPM, right? So in general, a simple process, and you can have laser pointer. But if you go for miniaturized version, so this KTP, so this is potassium titanyl phosphate. So this KTP crystal is not really useful for miniaturized version. So in general, for miniaturized version, what we use is periodically poled lithium niobate. Okay, so this is PPLN, which is nothing but periodically poled lithium niobate. So this periodically poled lithium niobate crystal, in general, we use for the pico projectors and heads-up display. That is small heads-up display. Not in general, we know that projectors, right? So the projectors are bulky because of it has a metal halide lamp as well as some optical systems. So the electronics is very small in the ordinary projector, but the reason for bulkiness is because of the source as well as the optical setup, right? Okay, here we are using a simple laser diode to emit 808, and as I told you here, yttrium 108 crystal, then you have a second harmonic generation crystal, right? So this periodical pulled lithium niobate, which is called the uh, I mean this phase matching, which is called the quasi phase matching technique. Okay, here I told you that this technique, which is called the phase matching technique, and this technique, which is called the quasi phase matching. Okay, so for your knowledge, so till date there has been no demonstration of all optical surface emitting laser diode operating in green wavelength, right? So there are some green diodes, LED diodes are available, but those are for example, the decorative purpose diodes. So those diodes are it's basically a white light LED and a green color dome. Okay, green color which acts as a filter. And now there are some green laser diodes, but those laser diodes are not highly efficient, but still it's in research purpose only. Okay. As I told you in my slide, so that lithium niobate is one of the important material in nonlinear optics, and so this is one of very very important material in the field of photonics, right? If you see the global market of lithium niobate crystal, so the Science Daily, December 2017, we have given that lithium niobate could be for optics what silicon was for electronics. Okay, so how we assume silicon for electronics. So the near future, the lithium niobate will be the epicenter for photonics and optics. Okay, so they have given an article, so name now entering lithium niobate valley. So we know Silicon Valley. Similarly, soon we are going to have lithium niobate valley, right? And to understand the importance of the lithium niobate, so this is the market scenario, global market scenario. So I have got only the North American nonlinear market. So here you can clearly see 2018, there was a business of 986 million USD. So here it is general nonlinear optical crystals. So in general, nonlinear optical crystals, only few crystals are highly useful, like KTP, barium borate, as well as the lithium niobate, right? So among lithium niobate is used for many applications, for example, designing modulators, as well as optical frequency converters and the waveguides. So apart from these crystals, uh, there are many business which is going on. Okay, for example, here uh, I have given only the North American status. So if you compare value to 3 times higher, okay, so here you can consider the 19 only 1,000 million, right? So if you consider the globe going to 30,000 million, right? So this is the year-wise scenario, right? Now before understanding what is second harmonic generation, we need to know what is nonlinear optics. Right. So the entire process, that is converting the 1064 into 532 nanometer. So this comes under nonlinear optics. So whatever the things we have studied is called the, we studied reflection, refraction, transmission, diffraction. So those properties are linear optical properties. In that case, the electric field is very, very less than the interatomic field. So interatomic field in the sense, the interatomic field of the medium. So this electric field will not disturb the interatomic field of the medium. So only you have properties. That is, light is going to be deflected or delayed, but the refractive index is not going to change. Okay, in general, the refractive index we consider is a function wavelength, or the refractive index is a function of temperature. But we are not considering the refractive index is a function of intensity. So this is in linear optics. So when we linear optics, so this is optics of intense light. So in this specific case, the electric field, that is the strength of photon or the strength of light, which is equivalent to the interatomic field, right? So here this electric field which disturbs the interatomic field of the medium. So here the N, which is depending on the intensity of, is the N, the refractive index, which is changing with respect to the intensity. Okay, now you can understand here. Now we are launching very weak light. So this is the molecular energy level. So these are all the virtual energy levels, the energy levels which I have given here. So this is a small energy photon. So the photon will go to the next higher energy level and come back. Okay, so nothing will happen. Right. Now, if you consider the higher energy photons, okay, this higher energy photon will move to higher energy level. Say, for example, here, so this is one energy level, this is another energy level. So two energy levels, it can move, right, while coming back. So these two energy photons will come as a same energy. So omega and omega will come as a 2 omega. So this process, which is called the second harmonic generation process, right? And the second harmonic generation, as I told, second harmonic generation, if we learn 1064, the output is going to be 532, right? So practically, if you learn 1064, you cannot expect the immediate emission of 532, right? So there are different methods we need to adapt to get highly efficient 530, right? So that specific method, which is called phase matching techniques. Okay. Now here I'm launching 100 photons to the system. So this is a crystal. Let's consider this is a KTP crystal. I'm giving 100 photons. Just for example, I'm telling. So just I'm giving 100 photons, and this is the length you can consider. 100 photons strength, which is decreasing. So the energy which is converted into 2 omega. So omega omega, which is adding. So this is H nu, right? So this is H nu, H nu, right? So this uh, this H omega, H omega. So this H cross is the Planck constant. So directly you can say this is omega and omega, right? So this omega and this omega, they are adding, and we are getting 2 omega output. So these two energies are added up, and we get a highly energy 2 omega, right? So here you can consider this phase matching, which is called the birefringent phase matching. So birefringent is a property of the material, right? So birefringent, which is nothing but it is the property if a material which is having the double refraction, then you can say the material is birefringent material. In that case, so if you say a double refraction, there are two refractive index in the medium. So ordinary index as well as the extraordinary index. Okay, so NO and the NE. So let's take here the extraordinary index of fundamental and the ordinary index of second harmonic. Extraordinary, so extraordinary index. This is omega, right? And the second harmonic. So this is 2 omega. So at specific point, so the refractive index value is 0. Let's take so the refractive index values of lambda and lambda by 2, right? Values refractive index specific values 0. Then you can have the variation between this and this is going to be 0. So this specific angle, right? This is a crystallographic angle, which is called the phase matching. So at this specific angle, if you cut the crystal and launch a laser, then you will have very high efficient second harmonic generation. Say for example here, this is the fundamental wave, right? So fundamental wave which is passing through the medium, and this is the second harmonic which is generated within the medium. So each and every second harmonic wave which is generated inside the medium are in phase. Say for example here everything is in phase. So then there will be a efficient energy between the fundamental and the second harmonic. The fundamental I'm talking is the wave which we giving, that is 1064 and this is 532, right? And I'm talking only about second harmonic. In nonlinear optics there are different processes. Say for example second harmonic, some frequency generation, different frequency generation, optical parametric amplification, and there are many, right? The method which I discussed here is the birefringent method. Okay, so for practical consideration, this delta k, so this delta k which is nothing but it's a mismatch vector, so we need to make delta k as 0, then only you can make a phase matching. So phase matching for generating 1064 to 532 fundamental to second harmonic, right? Okay, but this technique which has some limit, right? Say for example the nonlinear crystal must be bireferential because there should be NO and NE, so ordinary index, extraordinary index. So if the material is possessing ordinary and extraordinary, the birefringent property, then the material can be used for birefringent phase matching. And this is angle dependent, and different polarization axis you have to calculate different phase matching angle, right? Okay, so this is the disadvantage of birefringent phase matching, right? So to phase matching limitation, so we are going for quasi phase matching. So quasi phase matching technique is another interesting technique, and now this technique is used for designing wavelength converters as well as many nonlinear optical element. Okay, so quasi phase matching technique is a method for achieving efficient energy transfer between interacting waves in the nonlinear optical process. Okay, for this technique, a crystal of ferroelectric, right? So you all know the ferroelectric crystals which has permanent dipoles, right? So in ferroelectric you have multiple domains, right? So multiple axis domains. So the domains, each and every domain are oriented in different axes. So first what we need to do, we have to make the ferroelectric crystal as a single domain crystal, right? That is the polarization in only one direction. Let's consider you have a crystal, and the crystal which is possessing which is having domain in all the direction. Now I changed all the orientation into, single orientation. Say for example, now your entire crystal which is having orientation like this. Okay, now this is the orientation. Okay, it's upwards. Okay, the polarization which is upwards. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to physically reverse the polarization. Okay, periodically I'm reversing the polarization, right? So the how we are going to reverse the polarization I will explain, right? So initially I have taken a single domain crystal. So I'm periodically reversing the domain. So this is the domain and this is reverse, original, reverse, original, reverse. So in the case of second harmonic generation, so in practical consideration, now if you launch a crystal, you just consider all the domains are oriented in same direction. Okay, not like this. All the domains are oriented in same direction. If you launch a laser, so there will be a generation of second harmonic. So a second harmonic will be generated inside, but it will for LC. So this is coherence length. So for every coherence length, so there will be a generation decay, generation decay, generation decay. So to remove or to avoid this decay, what we are doing, we are flipping the polarization, right? As I told you, we are periodically flipping the polarization. So now I flip this domain, I flip this domain, I flip this domain. So this is original and this is reverse. So once I flip this domain, then the light, instead of decaying, so this will increase, the second harmonic will increase, because up to coherence length, the nature of the medium is same. Now the nature of the medium is different, so the light will behave differently. So the second harmonic, which is increasing, okay, here already increasing, in the original it is already increasing, now in this again increasing. So in this way we are basically cheating, we are basically cheating the light to have uh, second harmonic, construction of second harmonic. So this is one way to have second harmonic generation, right? Now, so how to design fuzzy phase matching device or periodically polled device? Okay, I told you we are changing the polarization. So the process of changing polarization, which is called polling, right? So we are periodically polling the device, right? Okay. Now, so this is the setup, periodic polling setup. So we have high voltage amplifier. So this high voltage amplifier will go the voltage up to 20,000 volt, 20 kV we can go, right? And so we have our BTech student, they have developed a USB based pulse generator amplifier and this sample holder. So this sample holder we have made it, and to have periodic reversal, right? So here we are periodically polling it, right? So for periodic polling, so we need to do photolithography process, right? So after making photolithography process, we all know what is photolithography process. So after making photolithography process on the lithium niobate sample, so this sample which is lithium niobate, so on the sample, so we are making some pattern, right? So to make a pattern, so we need photolithography facilities. For photolithography facility, we need a clean room as well as UV mask alignment. Okay, so at Shastra, we have developed our own clean room facility and UV mask aligner. So if you see the principle behind UV mask aligner, so these UV mask aligner are homemade, right? So the principle behind the UV mask aligner is pretty simple. But if you ask the price of mask aligner in the market, so this will cost the minimum of 30 lakh rupees. Okay, so we have developed with a limited functionality as simple UV mask aligner at the cost of 50,000 rupees, right? So with that UV mask aligner, we have made sample, and this sample, which is sandwiched between um, the sample holder, and we apply electric field. So if we apply electric field periodically, so this is masking. So this black color is masking, and this uncovered area will allow the electric field to propagate. Now this area will be domain reverse, this area will be domain reverse, this area will be domain reverse, right? And one thing I can happily say, here in India we have only two PPM fabrication facility, that is periodic cooling facility. So one is at IRD Dehradun. So IRD is a defense lab, and the Shastra is the only academic institute in India to have PPM fabrication facility, right? And yeah, so for QPM fabrication, lithium niobate sample is needed. So lithium niobate is a ferroelectric crystal. So now there are plenty of ferroelectric crystals, lithium tantalate, KTP, right? So these crystals are ferroelectric. Also use KTP as well as lithium tantalate for domain reversal, right? Benefit of making this sample is, so it has the ability to phase match any frequency, but in the case of birefringent frequency, it depends on the tuning. But here, by changing the period, so this is called the period, right? So one original domain, one reverse domain, which is called the width of these two, which is called period, right? So by changing the period, you can change the phase matching wavelength, right? So now this is the device. So this device is periodically poled device, or you can say this device is a QPM device, right? And now this is a practical device which we made. Now the period of this device is 18.9 micrometer, right? And each domain, say for example, this is half of 18.9, right? So this is the period, right? And for quasi phase matching technique, so we have uh, mismatch vector. So in the previous case, we had only NE and 2NO, right? But here we are using type 0 phase matching condition. And to create a phase matching, what we need to do, so we have to design a sample of specific period. So this is period. So then if you design a specific period, so that sample will phase match for specific wavelength, right? So this is the phase matching condition for quasi phase matching technique, right? Now, so this is the technique, and we have plenty of applications. Say for example, as I told you, the heads-up display, especially if you have miniaturized pico projector or mobile displays. So there is no other option. You must use periodically poled device. So in the second slide, I told you that you have 808 laser diode and 108 crystal and PPLN, periodically poled lithium niobate. When you have this setup, then you can have the green emitter setup, which is very, very small in size. So in practically we use this, not a KTP. So if you go for bulk laser systems, so people prefer KTP or BBO, barium borate crystals. For miniature periodically poled lithium niobate. The reason for using periodically poled lithium niobate is so you can use the largest nonlinear optical coefficient in periodically poled. So if you say largest nonlinear optical coefficient, then the conversion efficiency from 1064 to 532 will be larger, right? So instead of using a 5 mm KTP sample, less than 1 mm sample of PPLN will give very high efficiency of 532. So also for the mobile projector, you have blue LED, red LED, and this uh, device as a green source, right? So this is one simple pico projector, right? So this pico projector which has these three as a source, and this is the heads-up display. So in general, for flight or the jet, normally we use green color because green is very sensitive. So in that particular green, so we use the crystal assembly, not a single laser diode, right? The crystal assembly for green emission. Okay, so this is for RGB as well as for broadband, right? So you all know OCT, optical coherence tomography. In the case of optical coherence tomography, we need to use broadband source. So if you use broadband source, the resolution of the image will be very high. So there is a relation between the bandwidth as well as the resolution. So this is a simple introduction. So what we have done, I have developed a system to generate broadband as well as RGB simultaneous generation. Right. So in that case, so we have used model Nd:Arc laser. It's a picosecond laser, and OPG, OPA. So this is optical parametric generation and optical parametric oscillation. See, in general, laser. So this Nd:Arc laser, which gives emission of 1064 nanometer. So for simultaneous generation of RGB, we need a wavelength of 933 nanometer. So we have made this monochromatic source as a tunable source. Okay, so by keeping barium borate crystals, so this is a generator and a amplifier. So by keeping these two crystals, so we have made this mono tunable source. So now we have tuned. Now here the output emission is 933 nanometer. So this 933 nanometer, which is launched into the periodically poled lithium niobate crystal, and which gave a broadband as well as RGB emission. Right. The main problem in this RGB is the blue, which is available at 467, and the green, which is available at 575, and the red, which is available at 648. Right. So in general, the green 532 less than 550 is we can consider is a pure green, as well as the blue less than 450 or 450 we can consider as a pure blue. Right. So the wavelengths are slightly shifted. So what we expect is the pure colors, but here the wavelengths are slightly shifted. But the red we observed is a good. Okay, so it is 648 nanometer. It is good red color, right? So we have slightly shifted wavelength, right? And intensity variation between red, green, blue are different. Okay, so now we are trying to optimize the wavelength of emission as well as intensity, right? Now, in addition to RGB, so as I told you, we have generated broadband. Right? That specific broadband, which is not flat top, right? Which was fluctuating a lot, right? So these are all the problem which we had faced in this experiment, right? So here, Moodlock laser as well as this crystal assembly to generate the OPG spectrum, right? So now Japan, the NIMS lab demonstrated the similar experiment with the laser diode. So you don't need to use this complicated laser arrangement to emit the simultaneous generation. So you can directly use a laser diode of specific wavelength to have the broadband as well as RGB. So in the case of broadband, now you can see, so this red color. So this red color, which is almost flat top, right? The top, the wavelength is not fluctuating, but this black color, which is fluctuating. So this is the old experiment, right? So what we have done, so we have changed the arrangement of domain, right? So in the previous slide, I told you you have original, reverse of same width, right? Say for example, this is 10 micrometer, 10 micrometer, 10 micrometer. Everywhere it is 10 micrometer. But here we have used a periodic domain. So this width is not 10 micrometer. Okay, it may be 20 micrometer or some other, right? So depending on inclusion of this aperiodic domain, we can make this fluctuating broadband source at top broadband source. And another interesting thing what we have found in this system, which is temperature tolerance. Okay, so this specific device, the temperature tolerance is very, very high. Say for example, even if there is a variation from 20 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius, so it maintains its shape, right? So the fluctuation, the ripple level is almost zero. So this maintains its shape. So you can generate a bandwidth of 1.41 micrometer. So 1.41 micrometer source is very high ultra broadband source, right? And here the broadband, which is fluctuating. So the intensity is not fluctuating. That is one advantage of this specific experiment, right? So here we have demonstrated a broadband. Okay, so now the pump is 933 nanometer, and you keep a quasi phase matching device or a PPLN device of specific nature will emit a wavelength of a broadband wavelength, right? So this is one demonstration, and another demonstration what we are trying is, okay, in In the case of RGB, so it is not a simple job to emit simultaneous green blue of specific wavelength. So what we have done in the previous slide, I told we have included some aperiodic domain. So like this, right? So we have specifically included aperiodic domain, and we have changed single wavelength spectrum into multiple wavelength spectrum, right? In the previous case, I told you 1064 is given, 532 is emitted. Now, different wavelength you can give, different second harmonic emission, you can get it. So how we can achieve this? By including a phase shifter. So this is, so where we can include phase shifter, and at what location we need to include the phase shifter is the biggest question, okay? Because depending on the location of the phase shifter or the size of the phase shifter, these are all the phase shifter domains, right? The emission which is going to change, right? So we have a simulation, okay? This is simulate and annealing. We have algorithm, simulate and annealing algorithm. Based on this algorithm, so we have identified so where we need to keep the phase shifter domains, right? So some specific location. So if we keep a phase shifter domain in a specific location, you can have multiple harmonic generation, right? So this is one method we have adapted, right, to generate multiple harmonics. So the same method we have adapted to emit RGB, right? In the case of RGB, experiment which we have done earlier, say for example, this is 2007 experiment we have done. So in this experiment, so the pump is 933 nanometer, and now you can see, so very strong blue and moderate green and very small red. So the blue, green, and red, which is emitted, but the wavelength is slightly shifted, right? Now we are not going to use 930 nanometer pump. We are going to use 440 nanometer pump, right? So this is 440 nanometer pump, and the QPM device, the periodically poled device, what we are going to use is not periodically poled. This is the device of some specific design. For example, we are going to keep the phase shifter in a specific location, and this is going to emit the RGB, right? So now we can get RGB in the very pure region. Say for example, here the green wavelength is 32, and the red wavelength is 632, and the blue what we are giving. Okay, this is the laser diode. So here the tapered laser diode. Okay, we are going to use, and so this blue, which is going to act as a pump source for this domain engineer, the quasi-phase matching or periodically poled device, and this is going to generate simultaneously green and red, right? So there will be unconverted blue, right? So here you will have unconverted blue, green, and red, right? And we are going to use a filter, and this is we are going to split it, right? So by this way we can simultaneously generate green as well as blue, right? So in the pointer, in the simple laser pointer, what we have done, we have used semiconductor laser diode to generate 1064. That 1064 we have converted into 532, right? So here we are going to directly use a semiconductor laser diode, right? That is gallium nitride diode of wavelength roughly 440 nanometer, and that 440 nanometer is going to act as to generate as well as blue, right? So by this way we can simultaneously generate red, green, and blue, right? So so this is the proposed idea. So we are working on it, and so theoretically we have developed, but experimentally the work is going on. Okay, now uh, uh, again I'm coming to the end of the talk. Now the conclusion. So we have successfully developed a low cost to room temperature electric field cooling system to fabricate periodically poled lithium niobate device, and by changing the domain pattern we have demonstrated flat top, ultra broadband radiation, and practically the demonstration of simultaneous RGB is in progress, right? So we are in progress to generate. Okay, already we have generated RGB, but that specific RGB, which is not in desired wavelength, right? So now we are trying to emit RGB in specific wavelength, right? And finally, so since we have the QPM fabrication facility, the periodically cooled lithium niobate fabrication facility, uh, we are trying to commercialize it, right? Because in India, there is no commercial vendor, right, to sell or to fabricate periodically cooled lithium niobate, right? Now, I thank my supervisor and my postdoc advisor and my research scholars, my institute and the funding agencies, and the organizers of IEEE says which will talk, and Dr. Praveen Kumar. Right. Okay. So I hope I have completed in a stipulated time. Okay. Thank you. Now I'm waiting for your questions. And, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for a very informative talk. Yeah. So, sir, there are a couple of questions in the chat box window.
Sure.
Yeah. So I can read them for you, or
Because it's not visible to me. Okay, you please read.
okay. So, sir, first question from Abhiram Anand, sir. So he's asking, can we say Raman spectroscopy as the basis for nonlinear optics?
Sure. Sure. Raman is nonlinear. Sure.
Okay. Okay. So next question from again Abhiram, sir. He's asking, is it possible to achieve QPM for glasses that exhibit nonlinear optic properties?
Definitely. There are many experiments with glass, right? So you don't need a crystalline
Okay.
material to have QPM. You can use even a glass.
Okay. Thank you. So next question from Niranjan, sir. He's asking, what is the maximum angle of dispersion of laser output pulses?
Angle of dispersion.
Yeah, you can go to the slide number 11.
Slide
I
number
think
11.
he asked from 11th slide. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let me go.
Yeah. So he has two questions in the same. I'll just
Sure,
see the
sure.
say the
I'm
next
happy to
one.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this slide, what is the maximum angle of dispersion of laser output pulses?
Okay, so practically we haven't checked the angle of this thing dispersion.
Dispersion. Okay.
Right?
And then
Yeah.
the next
So
question
because we
in
have
this slide
simply
only.
generated. Yeah.
Okay. The next question in this slide is, what is the coherence length for shown prototype model in slide 11? Yes.
This one. Okay.
Yeah.
So here he's asking whether coherence length or the laser. Okay. In the case of QPM coherence length, it is roughly 6 micrometer.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So
Thank you.
can be converted into 532, roughly 6 micrometer.
Question is from Praveen, sir. He's asking, what are the challenges to fabricate this device?
Okay. The practical challenges, especially we need to have a clean room facility and we need to have a UV aligner because it is cost involved. And another thing, we need to have high voltage amplifier. So these things are a bit expensive. Okay. Then luckily we have developed our own clean room setup as well as our own UV aligner, right? So that reduced cost much. Okay, that is the main challenging task in designing QPM device.
Okay, sir. So next question is again from Praveen, sir. He's asking, what are the techniques required to split the incoming light from a laser source?
Okay. Technique available. Okay, it's a nonlinear optical method. Okay, there are plenty of techniques: second harmonic generation, third harmonic generation, optical parametric generation, optical parametric oscillation. There are different techniques. Okay, depending on the requirement, we need to choose the technique. Yeah.
So next question is from Abhiram sir again. Can you comment on spectral purity of blue emission by pumping at 0.44 micrometer?
Spectral purity. Okay, so theoretically we have calculated the bandwidth is about 1 nanometer. The blue wavelength purity is 1 nanometer. It's theoretical.
Okay, sir. So next question from Niranjan sir. Can you make 1064 nanometer wavelength into detection from any sensor like laser target detection? So that is converted into visual spectrum from IR that will reduce the technology circuit of thermal cooled. So it's a pretty long question. So he's asking
Yes,
something like to reduce wavelength from 1064 nanometer to 532 nanometer after detection from any laser target detection.
Okay, for laser target detection, we can use photodiodes. So photodiodes it's well known, right? So photodiodes can be used. Even silicon diode, silicon photon diode, you can use to detect in the visible range, not in IR.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So next question is from someone whose name is HP. I think the laptop name. Can you please provide some sensing properties and applications of lithium niobate with optical fiber waveguides?
Sensing property. Okay, practically I'm not working in sensing. So I don't know how to comment on this specific question.
Okay, no issue, sir. It's okay. So next question from Abhiram sir again. Apart from Z-scan, is there any simple experimental technique to confirm for third order nonlinear optical property? Apart from Z-scan.
Yeah, third order nonlinear optical property. Okay, so for example, in my second slide, yeah. So the first I'll explain the simple way to check the second harmonic generation. So this is the way to simply check the second harmonic. Okay, so if you to my lab, so what we are trying is purchasing a lot of laser pointer, some high power laser pointer, and we dismantle it. With this laser pointer, which gives 1064, right? So that 1064 can be used as a source. So you don't need to go for some hi-fi laser sources. So we have laser sources, Nd:YAG laser source. But in addition to Nd:YAG laser source, we are trying this kind of experiment, right? So you can keep your own crystal instead of this KTP. Just remove this KTP and keep your own crystal and rotate in some specific angle. Understand? If you rotate in some specific angle, the green will be emitted at some specific angle. So that is the phase matching. So that is in the one way you can check the second harmonic. Similarly, third harmonic. So third harmonic is somewhat tough because the power needed for third harmonic generation is much more, right? And the simplest way is Z scan, right? I don't think some other technique will give third harmonic generation. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So going to our next question from Ajan. She's asking like for electro-optic modulator technology
Modulators.
among
Yeah.
lithium niobate or gallium arsenide, which is better material?
Okay, so lithium niobate basically depends on the electro-optic coefficient, right? The electro-optic coefficient and the transparency range, right? So lithium niobate is transparent in especially in communication band, right? 1550 nanometer, which is highly transparent compared to the other materials, right? So it is preferable to use lithium niobate.
Okay, sir. So next question from Praveen, sir. What about the output beam of light in oblique incidence angles for display device?
Uh,
What about the output beam?
um, okay, so to be frank, I don't have idea because
Okay.
we haven't designed any display devices and we haven't checked it. So we do laser designing laser, right? So I don't have answer for this. Sorry.
Okay, sir. So, sir, that's all from the chat box window, like questions. Rest all our appreciation comments, like a very wonderful talk, insightful talk. So,
Okay, thank you so
okay,
much.
there is one question. They just typed it. So, we would like to take it. So, from Abhiram Anand, sir. So, he's asking, what is the process for approaching your lab for performing collaborative research?
You can directly email me. No issue. I'm happy to
So, you
collaborate
can
if
write
anyone.
your email. Yeah, you can write your email in the chat
Yeah,
box window. Otherwise,
I'll type.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll type.
yes,
Krish
sir.
Paudin. SHDIYAN at gmail.com.
Okay. So next question
This is
is
my email.
from Niranjan sir. He's asking, is it possible to superimpose two 532 nanometer visible pulse to convert into 1064 nanometer using some optics by avoiding sophisticated cooling system for generating IR?
Okay. Uh, this this is possible, right? But we need to consider the phase matching because you are going to add to 532 to generate 1064, right? And at what phase matching? So this will happen, right? So this is possible. So this is called uh, some frequency, right? You are generating some frequency. So adding two and generating one.
Okay, sir. So thank you, sir. That's all. Chat box. So now this is open for direct interactions. So you can unmute yourself and we can have a conversation with sir.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone?
Just sir, my name is Subramanya Reddy. Just I want to know the laser optic communication, uh, how it is affects the angles and then the cutting edges on this for the
Your
communication.
voice is not clear, sir.
Now it is clear, sir.
Yes, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Just I want to know that how we can use these techniques for the laser optic communication purpose.
For communication purpose, uh, QPM technique. Yeah, we can basically for designing optical routers, right? So
Okay.
switching one wavelength to other wavelength. QPM devices are being used.
Okay.
So QPM technique is one of the useful and simple technique to utilize the lithium niobate device into communication.
Okay. So what is the bandwidth limitations on that uh, band, sir, on that communication system?
And with limitation, okay. So here we are generating a specific wavelength. So it depends on the requirement, right? So if
Okay.
you need a wavelength of in the especially the C band, so we can generate it. The C band wavelength we can generate. So there is no limitation.
Okay.
The narrow pulses it's somewhat tough.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Is
sir,
anyone
for a
else?
wonderful talk.
Okay.
Hello.
Anyone else who want to interact? Yes.
Sir, this is Abhiram Anand here. Sir,
Yeah.
your talk was wonderful. I have one more question, sir.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Uh, Can you just tell me whether did you face any self-focusing and self-defocusing effect when you performed your NLO experiment?
Yes. Okay. So self-focusing and defocusing. Okay. In general, so this is the problem in the bulk crystals. If you go for waveguide geometry, so this problem will not come, right? Because there is a guiding structure and you can have the things, right? And lithium niobate is a very good device to form a waveguide structure, right?
Fine, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just muted it to avoid the disturbance. I just I want to know that instead of using lithium niobate crystal, even lithium niobate can be in form of glass. So can we what best results can we get from glass instead of using crystal?
Okay. So glass, I have a friend in NIMS Japan, Professor Kurimura. Actually, he has developed a new technique to use glass as a QPM device, right? So here you cannot apply electric field. In the case of ferroelectric devices, normally we apply electric field to change the polarization. But in glass, you cannot apply electric field because it's not a ferroelectric material, right? So we can apply some pressure. So we can periodically apply some pressure to have QPM devices, right? And you can apply even electric field. There are some ferroelectric glasses now. There are some recent work which says some ferroelectric glasses. So those glasses we can use. But the problem with the glass is lithium niobate. Once you do domain reversal, so that is permanent. Even after 10 years, the domain will not again reverse back. But in the case of glass, so while applying electric field or while changing the domain, it is available. But after a few minutes or after a few hours, again it is coming back, right? So utilizing glass is good option, but there are plenty of drawbacks.
Sure, sir. I will mail to you.
Yeah, sure. I'm
Get back to
happy
you.
to receive your mail. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
thank you.
Yes, anyone else before we end up today's session?
Okay. So I think I have completed in a stipulated time.
Yes.